They didn't want you to come, my father said about the family trip I was left out of. I send you $2,500 every month, and this is how you repay me, I shot back. So I stopped every payment and cut them off completely. I had no idea what to expect when I discovered my whole family had gone on a vacation without me. Confusion, hurt, and anger hit me all at once. But nothing prepared me for what came next. It started when my younger brother, Frank, posted a photo on Instagram. My entire family, parents, siblings, even cousins, stood together on a gorgeous, sun-soaked beach, all smiling with drinks in their hands. The caption read, "Much-needed family getaway, family." I stared at that word, rereading it, hoping to find my name somewhere in the comments, maybe a light-hearted mention that I was stuck at work or would join them later. But there was nothing. I scrolled further, my pulse quickening as I saw more posts, pictures of them at a luxurious resort, eating at fancy restaurants, going on boat trips. I checked my texts, my emails. No invite, no heads up, just silence. That's when I called my dad. He picked up after 2 rings. "Hey, kid," he said, acting like nothing was wrong. I got straight to the point. "Where are you guys?" A brief pause. "Then on vacation," my jaw clenched. "Without me?" He sighed like I was the one being difficult. "Well, we thought you wouldn't want to come," I let out a sharp breath. "You thought I wouldn't want to come?" My voice was sharp with disbelief. "You've been planning this trip for months. I send you money every month to help out, and you didn't even bother to ask if I wanted to join." Another pause. Then the words that changed everything. "We didn't want you there," my breath caught. "What? You're always busy, always working," he said, his tone cold, detached. "Honestly, you just bring the mood down. We figured it'd be better this way." I didn't realize how tightly I was gripping my phone until my hand ached. "I send you $2,500 every month," I said slowly, trying to stay calm. "I pay your bills, cover emergencies, help with debts, and this is what you do?" "Don't make it a big deal," he muttered. "You wouldn't have enjoyed it anyway." I didn't yell, I didn't argue, I just hung up. One sharp, final click. I sat there frozen, my body numb, staring at my phone. In that moment, I made a choice. They were on their own now. I don't know how long I sat there after hanging up, minutes, maybe hours. My dad's words echoed in my head. "We didn't want you there." This wasn't a mistake or an oversight. It was deliberate, a conscious decision, and I was done. That night, I logged into my bank account and started making changes. First, I canceled the automatic transfers. No more $2,500 a month. No more safety net. Then I checked the joint account I shared with my parents, the one I'd been depositing money into for family emergencies. It was nearly empty, of course. I pulled out the little that remained and moved it to my personal account. Then I did something I should have done years ago. I cut them off, blocked my dad, blocked my mom, blocked my siblings. For the first time in years, I wasn't their financial lifeline. When I lay down that night, I felt something new, relief. The next day, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. I'd blocked my immediate family, but not everyone else. Messages poured in from distant relatives, old family friends, people I hadn't talked to in ages. The first one I read was from my aunt. "Hey, your mom just called me crying. What's going on? She says you're refusing to help them anymore." Then my cousin Nancy, "Wait, did you really cut off your parents? What happened?" And then the guilt trips. "You're being so selfish. They did everything for you when you were a kid, and this is how you repay them." But one message stood out, from an unknown number. "You think you can just walk away after all we've done for you? Pathetic. Enjoy being alone?" I knew instantly it was my dad. I stared at the words, feeling nothing, no anger, no sadness, just exhaustion, no apologies, no acknowledgement of what they'd done. They weren't upset because they hurt me. They were upset because they'd lost their cash machine. For the first time, I didn't care. I set my phone down and went to make breakfast. They could yell, beg, or insult me all they wanted. It wouldn't change a thing. I wasn't going back. By the afternoon, someone was pounding on my door. I checked the peephole. My sister, Barbara. I thought about pretending I wasn't home, but I knew she wouldn't leave. Taking a deep breath, I opened the door. She stormed in without asking. "What the hell, Samuel?" I crossed my arms. "What?" She spun around, eyes blazing. "Mom's been crying all morning and Dad's furious. They say you just abandoned them out of nowhere." I let out a dry laugh. "Out of nowhere? You mean like how they went on a trip without telling me? Like how they decided they didn't want me there?" Barbara's mouth opened, but nothing came out. I shook my head. "They've been using me for years, Barbara. I've paid their bills, covered their debts, given them whatever they needed. And in return, they act like I don't exist unless they need cash." She swallowed hard. "It's not like that, is it?" I cut her off. "Tell me, Barbara, did they ever mention me on the trip?" Did anyone ask why I wasn't there? Her silence was deafening. I exhaled slowly. I'm done. Her expression softened. But they need you. I raised a hand. No, they need my money, not me. And if they can't respect me, they don't get my help. It's that simple. She ran a hand through her hair, frustrated. Samuel, they're our parents. We can't just abandon them. I held her gaze. Then you take care of them. If you think they deserve support so badly, you cover their expenses. See how long you last before they bleed you dry. Barbara bit her lip, staring at the floor. Yeah, that's what I thought. She turned toward the door, but paused. They're not going to stop, you know. I leaned against the wall. Neither am I. Without another word, she left. I locked the door behind her, and for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Let them try. I wasn't backing down. I thought cutting them off would end it, that they'd throw a fit, realize I wasn't budging, and move on. I was wrong. The next morning, my boss called me into his office. Samuel, got a minute? His tone was neutral. I stepped inside, a knot forming in my stomach. Yeah, what's up? He sighed, rubbing his forehead. I got a weird call this morning from your mom. My stomach twisted. You're kidding. I wish, he said, leaning forward. She said you're having some kind of emotional breakdown and need time off. Claimed you're making rash financial choices you'll regret. I clenched my jaw. Of course. When guilt didn't work, they tried sabotage. I told her your personal matters aren't my business, he continued, watching me closely. But I have to ask, are you okay? I took a deep breath. I'm fine. I just stopped funding my parents and they're pissed. He gave a low whistle. That explains it, I nodded. Sorry they dragged you into this. He waved it off. Not your fault, but if they try this again, let me know. I don't tolerate harassment, even from family. Leaving his office, anger burned inside me. They were desperate. Good. Back at my desk, I checked my phone. 17 missed calls and 1 text from my mom. If you keep ignoring us, we'll have no choice but to involve the whole family. I exhaled slowly. They still thought they could bully me into giving in. I was about to prove them wrong. By evening, my phone was a war zone, more missed calls, more texts. My voicemail was full. I scrolled through the messages, shaking my head. Mom, we don't understand why you're doing this to us. Dad, enough of this nonsense. Call me. Barbara, they're talking about selling stuff to get by. Are you okay with that? Uncle Dennis. Samuel, your mom called me crying. Can't you at least talk to her? Cousin Nancy. Dude, what's going on? Your parents say you're punishing them for no reason. I laughed at that one. No reason. Then more from my mom. Your father and I are struggling. If you had any heart, you'd help. We're your parents. Dad, you're acting like a selfish kid. After everything we've done, you owe us. There it was. They weren't upset because they cared. They were mad because they thought I owed them my money. For years, I'd bent over backward, paying their bills, bailing them out, covering their needs. And they had the nerve to act like I was the ungrateful one. I tossed my phone onto the table, rubbing my face. They still didn't get it. They thought I was bluffing, that if they pushed hard enough, I'd cave like always. I had to make it clear I wasn't coming back. I picked up my phone and typed, I don't owe you anything. I hit send. Then another, I've supported you for years. You excluded me from a family trip and didn't even have the decency to be honest about it. That showed me everything I needed to know. You only care when I'm paying your way. That ends now. I hesitated for a second, then sent one more. Find someone else to bankroll your life. I'm done. Then I blocked them, blocked my mom, blocked my dad, blocked Barbara. Blocked everyone who thought they could manipulate me back into line. And when I did, something unexpected happened. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding for years. No more guilt, no more obligations. No more sacrificing myself for people who saw me as a walking ATM. For the first time in forever, my bank account was untouched at the end of the month. No sudden withdrawals, no desperate pleas for just a little more. No vague transactions I barely remembered approving. It was mine. I expected to feel guilt, that ingrained instinct to worry about my parents' finances, whether they had enough to get by. But after a few days of silence, it hit me. They weren't starving. They weren't homeless. They were just inconvenienced. That realization sparked an anger I didn't know I had. For years, I'd put my dreams on hold, skipped opportunities, sacrificed my goals to keep them comfortable. And the moment they had to budget like adults, they lost it. They didn't need me, they just liked using me. Now that their free ride was gone, they were scrambling. The first week was quiet. By the second, my phone lit up again. Unknown numbers, voicemails, more unknown numbers. They were using different phones. Curious, I played one voicemail. My mom's voice, dripping with fake concern. Samuel, honey, we haven't heard from you. I just want to make sure you're okay. Can we sit down and talk? Please call me back. We miss you. I almost laughed. They didn't miss me. They missed their meal ticket. I deleted the message and ignored the rest. Later that night, a text came from my friend Carl. "Hey bro, your mom messaged me on Facebook, you okay?" I frowned. They were dragging my friends into this now. I replied, "What'd she say?" He sent a screenshot. "Mom. Carl, I hate to bother you, but I'm worried about Samuel. He's acting strange, cutting off family, making reckless choices. We're scared he's struggling emotionally and isolating himself. If you hear from him, please reach out. We just want to help." My hands balled into fists. They weren't just guilt-tripping me, they were trying to make people think I was unhinged. I called Carl. Before I could speak, he said, "Dude, don't worry, I don't buy it. Just thought you should know," I exhaled. "Thanks, man, they're mad I stopped paying their bills," Carl laughed. "Yeah, I figured." We chatted a bit, and after hanging up, I sat there thinking, my parents weren't in trouble, they were manipulative. This was their last-ditch effort. If they couldn't bully me into paying, they'd try to shame me into it by turning my friends against me. That was it. If they wanted to play dirty, I was ready. I knew they wouldn't stop until I made it impossible for them to keep scheming. So I did something I'd never done before. I told the truth to everyone. I posted on Facebook, keeping it calm and factual. "Hey all, just to clear things up. I'm not having a breakdown or abandoning my family. I've simply stopped financially supporting my parents. For years, I paid their bills, cleared their debts, and covered their expenses while they lived comfortably. In return, they excluded me from family vacations, ignored me, and only reached out when they needed money. Now that I've stopped, they're telling people I'm unstable. If you hear that, now you know the real story. Thanks." I hit post and leaned back. The responses came fast, comments, messages, people reaching out. Some were shocked, others furious for me. "Cousin Nancy, wait, they went on a trip without you but used your money?" Uncle Dennis. "Son, I had no idea. You did the right thing. Don't let them guilt you." Aunt Ashley. "Wow, I can't believe they're trying to make you look bad. That's awful." Then the best part, people started calling them out. My uncle posted, "How can you say you're struggling when Samuel was giving you $2,500 a month? That's more than some people's rent." A cousin added, "You had no problem spending his money, but now that it's gone, it's an issue." Their carefully spun narrative was falling apart, and I knew they were panicking watching it unravel. It didn't take long for Barbara to message me. "Are you seriously airing our family's business on social media?" Me, "I'm not airing anything. I'm correcting the lies our parents are spreading." Barbara, "This is embarrassing for them." Me, "Maybe they should have thought of that before trying to make me look crazy." Silence. Exactly what I expected. I could almost picture the chaos on their end, but I wasn't done. Since they wanted to drag others into this, I had one final move. I called their landlord. It was time they faced life without my safety net. After a few rings, he answered. "Hey, Mr. Ryan, it's Samuel." A pause. "Samuel, everything okay?" I took a breath. "Yeah, just a heads up, I'm not covering my parents' rent anymore. Any prior agreements, they're done." He chuckled. "Well, I figured this day would come." That surprised me. "What do you mean?" he sighed. "Your parents have been late on rent plenty of times. They'd always say, 'Don't worry, our son will cover it.' They treated you like a blank check." My jaw tightened. "Of course." "Well," I said, "they're on their own now." He exhaled. "Got it. I'll expect their payment on time next month. If they don't pay, that's their problem." We ended the call, and I hung up, feeling a spark of satisfaction. This was it. No more bailouts, no more fixing their messes. Reality was about to hit them hard. And me. I was finally free. It didn't even take a day for the panic to kick in. The first sign? My mom showed up at my apartment. I was eating dinner when the knocking started, loud, frantic. I checked the peephole. There she was, fidgeting, clutching her phone. I thought about ignoring her, letting her stew in the mess she'd made. But curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to hear her excuse. I opened the door but didn't move aside. "What do you want?" Her eyes were red, her face swollen like she'd been crying for hours. "Samuel, please, can we talk?" I crossed my arms. "About what?" She swallowed. "Mr. Ryan called." There it was. "He said you told him you're not paying our rent." Her voice shook like she couldn't believe it was real. I shrugged. "Yeah, I told you I'm done." Tears filled her eyes. "Samuel, we need you." "No," I said, my voice steady. "You need my money." She flinched. "We raised you, took care of you, and now when we're the ones who need help, you're turning your back on us?" I let out a sharp laugh. "You didn't need me when you planned that trip or when you told me I wasn't welcome." Her mouth opened, then closed, no words coming out. I kept going. "You had no issue spending my money when it suited you, but now that you have to manage your own lives, it's a crisis." I shook my head. "I'm done being your crutch." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "So you're just going to watch us struggle?" I met her eyes, unflinching. "You'll figure it out." Her breath caught, shock holding her still. Then her sadness turned to anger, her face hardening. Fine, she snapped. If this is who you want to be, don't expect us to forgive you. I leaned against the doorframe, unmoved. Forgive me? For what? Setting boundaries, taking control of my life? I shook my head. No, Mom. You and Dad are the ones who need to apologize. Her face twisted with rage, but she didn't speak. She knew I was right. I stepped back and closed the door. For a moment, I stood there, listening to her footsteps fade. Then I smiled. For the first time I'd won. The fallout was quick. Hours later, Barbara messaged me. Mom came home a wreck. What did you say to her? Me. The truth. Barbara, you're being cruel. She's heartbroken. Me. She's upset because she lost control, not because she lost me. Silence. Then a text from my dad, short and cold. You made your choice. Don't come running back when you regret it. I stared at the screen, then replied. I won't. And I meant it. They wanted me to feel guilty, to doubt myself, to cave under pressure and come back with my checkbook. Not this time, not ever. Days passed, then a week, then two. The silence grew and it felt amazing. For the first time in years, my paycheck was mine. No sudden demands, no endless drain on my account. I could save, travel, focus on my future instead of sacrificing it for theirs. I wasn't their ATM or their safety net. I was free. If they never spoke to me again, that was their loss. Because I'd finally learned the most important lesson. Family isn't about blood, it's about respect. And if they couldn't give me that, they didn't deserve a place in my life.